to help me understand, a member of that MAGA base, conservative commentator Scottie Nell Hughes, friend of show, and someone who's newer to this arena, progressive Gen Z podcaster, my friend Adam Mockler. Adam, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, so I gotta help me understand for each of you. But first, I start with my friend Scottie Nell. What do I have right and what do I have wrong about this state of play, given the polling that suggests where the president should be focused versus where he is?
Well, let me say this. You want to talk about polling? 50% of Americans over the age of 30 believe that sex trafficking is one of the top 3 crimes that they're concerned about in the United States. And that number only increases the younger in age. So we can talk about Epstein, the person in the specific situation, or we can talk about sex trafficking, which is a very big issue on a lot of Americans' minds right now. And that is, I think, why so many people on the left and the right are concerned, because we do feel like that there is a huge problem with sex trafficking happening, and that deals with immigration. That deals with a lot of these other issues. They're all intertwined, Chris. And so we want to have answers. We feel like the powerful for so long have covered up for them.
I'm with you, but part of that is mythology and part of it is material. You're right about trafficking, so let's focus on it where it actually is in reality, which is inside the country. What we used to call prostitution and pimps are now called traffickers and trafficked individuals. Let's focus on that, not Epstein, because you're never going to get satisfaction on that. And Adam, that's my problem with you guys. I believe that the left jumping on the Epstein train is just because you think it's bad for Trump. Because if you really cared about disclosing anything, you would have done it on your watch.
Yeah, a few things. First of all, I agree that the conspiracy has been overblown in many areas. That tends to happen. But there is definitely more about Trump in this Epstein investigation, and we know that. We know that because new evidence surfaced last week. That journal that was sent to Epstein on his 50th birthday, that was a part of the federal investigation, but wasn't released to the public until about a week ago. So that alone proves there was more material in there. But I mean,
Adam,
Biden's DOJ worked a little,
Adam, not every disclosure advances your understanding. The president says he never sent any card for his 50th birthday, but let's say he forgot. Let's say he did, and he drew a pretty little picture and he wrote little silly things on it for Epstein's 50th birthday. How does that inform you to anything nefarious that you didn't know before?
I'm just saying this administration ran on transparency. I really quickly want to go back to what you were saying about Biden not releasing this. The Biden DOJ worked a lot differently. Merrick Garland, whether you like him or don't like him.
This is a talking point. This is a talking point.
Steady hand. Merrick Garland was very careful not to politicize his investigations. Are you telling me? I have a question. I have a question.
Kidding me?
Are you telling me that Donald Trump would allow Pam Bondi to open an investigation to Donald Trump Jr.? Would that happen?
I'm saying that under the I'll answer a question with a question. Here's what I'm saying. If you think that Merrick Garland wouldn't have dropped a bomb on Donald Trump's head,
he waited like 2 or 3 years to even investigate a stolen election from Donald Trump. Donald Trump tried to steal the election and Merrick Garland waited forever.
Are you kidding me? They literally tied Trump up for the last 4 years to do everything they could to get him to not be able to run in 2024, especially as he continued to gain momentum and win following the assassination attempt. If you don't think Kamala Harris wouldn't have pulled this out if there was anything devastating to Trump, it's not about Trump. This was absolutely abysmal for Democrats prior to the last month. Democrats hated Epstein. Absolutely,
Kamala Harris didn't have the ability.
Everybody can agree on the left and the right that the DOJ was definitely monopolized and was utilized to go against Trump and those people that were a part of, just like they used the IRS against conservatives in 2012, they definitely utilized the DOJ to target conservatives underneath the Biden administration.
Can you point to one example of Kamala Harris?
Trump and his family. They went through Melania's underwear drawer.
Say that again?
They went through Melania's underwear drawer. I mean, you cannot get more targeting than that.
After Trump hid documents for a year, he played cat and mouse
in Melania's underwear.
Well, hold on. Let's not go down the rabbit hole. The Mar-a-Lago thing, I believe, was absolutely a play by President Trump. And the FBI and the Democrats fell for it, is that he basically baited you. Yeah, come on in. Come on in and take me. Come on in. And you did it, and it wound up being over nothing. and it looked like a horrible case of lawfare. Here's my pivot point that I want to end on. Adam, how are you guys, as you are now dangerously close to your own populist reformation movement that may be justified in terms of grievance over affordability, I think it is, but socialism as an answer is a death sentence. Why don't you guys just go after what's in the big, beautiful bill and make your case on that Democrats would have done better? Why screw with this other stuff that'll never end well?
Because listen, I didn't think Trump's Epstein ties were that deep until he started acting like someone who's terrified of the truth coming out. He's constantly biting, and I think this is a framework. It's a window into how he covers up everything else. When he lies about who pays the tariff and says that for some reason other countries pay the tariff, he's lying in the same way as when he's lying about the Epstein files, or when he's lying about how much this new bill increases the debt long term. So I think he lies about all of these issues, and at the very least we can use this to create less dogmatic supporters who listen to us on other issues. So part of it is political strategy. Of course, Democrats will harp on this, but also, honestly, I didn't really think Trump's Epstein ties were that deep, but you got to admit, isn't this dude acting really strange every time he's on camera? He's like,
I'll tell you why I think he's acting strange. And look, if I'm wrong, Adam, please come back and stick it in my face. It happens all the time. I'll tell you why he's acting strange, in my opinion. And Scottie, I'll give this to you and then we'll go. I think Trump is completely flummoxed as to why people care about this so much, because he does not believe there's a client list. He does not believe there's a list of people. Yes, he threw out Clinton and Summers because that's what he does. He threw it out there so that a chooch like me would have to talk about it, which I am. But Scottie, the administration also, don't you think they would be better served with Trump doing a two-step? Pam Bondi, get out there and explain to people what you meant when you said it was on your desk. Go do it. You figure out what your answer is and go give it, because this isn't my problem, it's yours. And second, I'm only going to talk about the economy and what I think I'm doing for it. And maybe I'll talk about ICE and changing my policy. I won't talk about this anymore. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he lean in to what the majority wants?
Transparency, release it. And let me remind you, the reason why the MAGA base cares is because so many close to Trump told them to care for the last 4 years, the last 8 years, that there was something there. They're just following the directions that were given to them. And I do think, Chris, I have to point, I cannot let this go. I think it's absolutely comedic that he's talking about a liar when he literally had a candidate, a person in office that we were lied to for the last 2 years about where his mental health was and his actual health was. So it's funny for any Democrat to call Donald Trump a liar, considering what he just covered for the last 4 years.
Well, look, they're lies, and then they're big lies. Okay, and it depends on which side you're on in terms of how you define those two. And that's part of our problem. But I appreciate you guys discussing it with me. I hope you guys can get exhausted of this issue. We can get some transparency, and then we can get to what matters to the many. The polls are screaming that we're running in the wrong direction from the majority of this country. Adam, appreciate you. We'll talk again. Scottie, Nell, love you. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.